Hoop Tribe, it's a lot going on. In the world and in the WNBA, I have to start with the Aces advancing to the finals in a tough-fought battle from the Indiana Fever. They gave it all they had, so much so that Kelsey Mitchell suffered from rhabdomyolysis. I've never heard of that, but now I am terrified. Rhabdomyolysis is the breakdown of muscle tissue that leads to the release of muscle fiber contents into your bloodstream. Those fibers can harm your kidneys. In Kelsey Mitchell's case, it led to her collapsing on the court. She lost feelings in her leg for about 7 seconds. They brought out a stretcher. I was like, oh, this is serious. After that moment, you would expect the Indiana Fever to fall apart. Honestly, when Aaliyah Boston got into foul trouble, I thought that was the moment for the Aces to really come in and go on a run. But that didn't happen. And then Kelsey Mitchell was also out, and the Aces could never get into that rhythm. You have to give credit to the Indiana Fever defense, though I do think they switched up their defense just a bit because I didn't see a lot of the double teaming that I saw in Game 4 or Game 3. And they may have had to switch up their style because they were calling fouls differently in this Game 5 than they had been throughout the season and throughout the playoffs. I think that Aaliyah Boston got into foul trouble by committing fouls, but these are fouls that should have been called on her consistently throughout the season, so she would have gotten time to adapt. So now it's like, y'all been letting her get away with this stuff all season. I'm thankful that you're calling it correctly, but this is the consistency that the players are talking about. Boston ended the game with 11 points and 16 rebounds. The Indiana Fever out-rebounded the Aces 40-21. I don't think the Aces can continue that type of rebounding and expect to win a championship, especially with the post game that the Phoenix had. Like, this isn't getting any easier. Alyssa Thomas, Natasha Mack has been really big for Phoenix. DeWanna Bonner, they can't afford to give Phoenix second chance points. The Indiana Fever had 12 offensive rebounds. 12 offensive rebounds to a Phoenix team when they have shooters around the perimeter like Sammy Whitcomb, really Satou Sabally, anybody on the Phoenix team is a threat. The Aces won't be able to win a championship giving up those kind of boards. Odyssey Sims stepped up, and hopefully this is what she needed on her resume to show the league that she deserves a permanent spot on the team. Because a player scoring 27 points on 50% shooting in a semifinals off of waivers, that has to be unheard of. Shey Peddy averaged 4 points throughout the playoffs. She averaged 7 points in this series against the Aces. And I credit the Indiana Fever offensive schemes. And when you look at this Indiana Fever offense and compare it to Stephanie White's Connecticut Sun team, I think that there's a big difference. So that shows me that she knows how to use the tools that she has. Turnovers were also huge for Indiana. They gave up 31 points off of 21 turnovers. Conversely, the Aces secured the ball. They only had 8 turnovers. Half of those turnovers were from Dana Evans, who's otherwise been really strong for the Aces off of the bench throughout the regular season and in the playoffs. But she's going to want to dial in because they're going to need her in this Phoenix series. And I think that Phoenix also has a strong defense. When I look at the Aces offense, it's stagnant at times, and I think that there was just a lack of execution. I don't think it's supposed to look like that by any means, but I do think that the Aces offense is rooted in NBA concepts, and they have the roster for it. Everybody on the Aces team can create their own shot. Well, not everybody. For the most part, most of the players on the Aces roster can create their own shots. So this type of offense where there's a lot of space works in this situation. The Aces were able to beat Indiana off of true athleticism. It wasn't X's and O's. By the time it hit overtime, that's when the athleticism, that's when the championship cloth players show up, and they showed out in Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, Asia Wilson, really everybody who participated in the team. It was a team win for sure. So it was very fitting for Asia to bring in her whole squad during that post-game interview. This style works for the Aces, but it's scary because we've seen moments when the shots aren't falling, when the defense is stellar. There can be a benefit to structure, but in those moments, they have to execute. Beyond the rebounds, the defense was tight, and that's what won this game for them. They had 10 blocks. They forced 21 turnovers, and they made it worth it. They had 31 points off of turnovers. I am still confident in the Aces, and I believe that they are going to be the champions for this season, but it's all about execution. It's all about will and want to at this point. This is going to be one of their hardest battles of their careers. Alyssa Thomas is on a mission. DeWanna Bonner, she's on a mission. They want a championship. Satou Sabally is on a mission. And the trajectory from Dallas to being in a championship, we have to give more praise to Satou Sabally and what she's been able to do. This has been the most games that she's played consecutively in her career. So I know that she's proud of herself for staying mind, body ready and made for the moment. She's been tremendous for this Phoenix Mercury team. Sammy Whitcomb, they've been praising her work ethic throughout this playoffs. She wants a championship. You can see it in their faces. These are players that are ready. I'm so excited to get this started. Game 1 is Friday, October 3rd. Kathy Engelbert is going to address the media ahead of the game, and that is going to be very interesting considering the climate of the WNBA right now from a political standpoint. I just love this game. I love this league. What are your thoughts, Hoops Tribe? How do you feel about Game 5? What are your thoughts going into Game 1? Do you have any predictions? Who is your champion? Y'all already know who I'm around with, folks. Let's talk hoops.